Hey there, guys. How's everybody doing? I skipped a couple days because I got a little busy, but I owe you 2 more videos. So tonight I want to talk about, hey Paul, I want to talk about gut health. So a lot of you are on refined sugars, flours, having those muffins every morning and the oatmeal every morning, okay? So a lot of the things that are packaged, processed, refined, foods that are not closest to the source is going to compete with your healthy gut bugs that give you immune health, give you juiciness as you age, and give you better moods. The secret to better moods is your gut health, and it has to do with what you put in your body. So I'm not going to prepare a whole thing here in terms of the kitchen, but I did prepare some banana peppers that I have fermented. I'm in the process of fermenting. These came from just a potted, plant. I have like 3 or 4 plants on my deck, and they're hot banana peppers because I love hot. And fermentation is something that costs pennies, and even though you're not really good in the kitchen or you don't want to be in the kitchen, this literally takes seconds to do and doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of money, and it is the best kind of condiment you can have. It's the best kind of vegetable on the side you can have. And I'm not just talking kimchi or spicy. You could do this with any vegetables. So for those of you who have never fermented before, fermentation is actually a process of food storage. Before refrigeration was available, fermentation was how people preserved their foods. So fermentation, all it requires is organic vegetables or vegetables that are from the farmer's market, that's not, covered with polluted pesticides or chemicals. And what you want to do is just add a little salt to a brine with water. And naturally, as plants grow in organic soil, they have billions and trillions of bacteria all covered over the surface of the plants, over peppers, vegetables, tomatoes, onions, whatever it might be, root vegetables, leafy greens, whatever, kale. And all of those good bacteria that's grown in organic soil proliferates when you ferment. And this is so much better and cheaper than actually fermenting or buying fermentation foods, because you're probably going to spend like 10 or 12 bucks, maybe up to 20 bucks at Whole Foods in a fermented food product that's in a jar or in a bag. And this is something that literally costs pennies. And so I just picked my peppers, took the stems off, and I love onions and I love garlic, which you should have in everything. And, I don't have bad breath. So bad breath really has to do with bad gut health. If you have bad breath, it has to do with bad gut health. So it has nothing to do with, well, it could be if you're having decaying teeth. Your oral health is a sign of health, actually. So if you are having decaying teeth, or you have teeth falling out, or you have gum issues, that is something to take a closer look at. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about gut health and how your gut is the second brain. And you've all heard of this. And basically, if you can really clear out some of those chemicals, processed foods, and flavorings. Flavorings are made in a lab. I keep telling my clients this. Flavorings are made in a lab. So if you have drinks, if you had food, bread, if you have chips, crackers, any kind of, healthy treat that might have flavorings in it, I can almost guarantee you those flavorings, even seltzer water, are made in a lab. There are flavoring companies that make flavoring to taste like citrus or taste like pineapple or taste like, chocolate. And if you have those kind of foods, those are chemicals that you're inviting into your gut environment, and they break down your gut lining and affect your ability to digest your foods properly, to actually proliferate good bugs. Our good bugs help us to actually fight off bad bugs, bad bacteria. So it is the key to immune health, key to staying younger and juicier and lovelier. And so I would recommend try fermentation. And it requires just a little bit of salt with raw vegetables and creating a brine of salt water. And for those of you who are on my email list, I will send out a link with recipes on how to do it, what the proportions are, but you can look it up. One guy, Sandor Katz, he wrote a book called Wild Fermentation. Fantastic book. You can Google him, you can YouTube him, and see how he ferments any kind of vegetable, whether it be carrots, peppers, whatever it might be. And so the kind of salt that you use for fermented foods is important. The kind of salt you want to use is unrefined salt. Like one salt, this Balvine, is a sea salt, or any kind of Vita salt, or any kind of salt that is unrefined, gray salt, Himalayan salt you can even use. But I like to use sea salt for my fermented food. So I would love for you to try that out and see how this goes for you. And what it requires is just salt and water and raw vegetables. And you basically create the brine and you stuff it into a quart-like ball jar like this. And you could put, garlic and onions, and you could do this with cucumbers and peppers and all your favorite vegetables. And basically, like I said, it's a preservation technique. It's no vinegar. Vinegar kills bacteria, just like you clean with vinegar. When you clean with vinegar, it basically kills any bacteria, kills any, bad stuff, right? You can clean with vinegar. You don't want to put vinegar because you want to promote the proliferation of good bacteria that's all living in microscopic elements on the surface of these plants. So pickling uses vinegar, and that's the whole sour process. And that is another preservation technique. But fermentation is actually proliferating and growing good bacteria for your gut. And what I'm going to do with these banana peppers and garlic and onions, because they're spicy, is once I leave it on the counter for several days, maybe even a couple weeks, it'll start bubbling up. And basically you'll kind of see like this whole brine become alive. And it shouldn't grow mold. You have to cover the vegetables with the brine. You don't want it to be exposed into air. And you just leave it on the counter and kind of degas it, like unscrew the top a little bit when you start seeing the bubbles come up. And you leave it on the counter for a couple weeks, and not in the refrigerator because that slows it down, but basically in room temperature in your kitchen. In a dark, like not sunny, don't leave it in a sunny window or anything like that. And basically it'll start bubbling up, and it will just naturally become sour in itself. And so like I said, what I'm going to be doing is actually pureeing this into like a little salsa that I can put on my fish, put on my meat, and it's gonna have a little bit of a kick to it, but it's fermented. So I can add it to my salads, and I'm always like looking for hot sauce, and I have a whole stash of hot sauce, but this is gonna be a naturally fermented hot sauce, or a little salsa, which is going to be awesome. So some of you might not like spicy, but you could do this without spicy vegetables like sweet peppers. You could do this with cucumbers. You could do this with kale even, and leafy green vegetables that are a little bit sturdy, like Swiss chard, or I'm not sure. No, spinach is a little too light, but you really want a sturdy vegetable that can withstand the fermentation process. So I just wanted to come out to you with this. My email is going out tonight because I've missed a couple of lives and videos. So I have 2 more. Tonight is about gut health. And gut health is so critical to how you feel, believe it or not. But you can't really have improved gut health until you drop the sugar, you drop the refined chemicals and preservatives that are in your processed foods. You really have to drop that. You got to clear that out. So, in all of these lives that you've been doing, I hope you've been taking some steps in making some decisions and choices about your refined carbohydrates and your refined sugars, and eliminating some of that, clearing that out, giving your body a chance to reset and get back to homeostasis. Okay, get back to a place where you can self-heal. And so actually, fermentation process actually helps your immune system. So if you have any kind of underlying condition, inflammation going on, this will help you. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not for everybody. So some people who may have histamine issues might be a problem. But essentially, fermentation in general, or probiotic foods like this that are made at home, not in a pill, is going to help you tremendously. In fact, a jar like this is going to have billions and trillions of good bacteria, probiotics in it, than a little tiny capsule that you get 2 billion, which is a baby dose. So if you are getting probiotics in a CVS or a Walgreens and you think you're doing yourself good, just forget about it. You're wasting your money. 2 billion bacteria to cover, 100 yards of intestinal length is not going to help you. It's not a therapeutic dose. So you want hundreds and billions of good bacteria, multiple strains of lactobacillus, and that's how you make it. And if you're interested in getting this in your email, go to my bio and sign up for the Midsummer Reset emails, and I will send you the links to all the videos that I've recorded and a recipe for this, as well as how to do the fermentation. A link to Sandor Katz, he could do it. I've done tons of cooking videos and stuff like that, but I'm giving you Sandor Katz, and he's the master of fermentation, of wild fermentation. So I hope this works for you, and so it's good to see you. Happy Thursday, and I hope you set new intentions over the full moon and over this week, and decided for yourself that your health is the most important thing that you should be cultivating and training right now. And if you need support around this, give me a comment below, send me an email, DM me, whatever, reach out. I am so here for you. I want you to win, okay? So I hope you guys have a great night. I'll come back out tomorrow with my last of the 14 days that I said I was gonna send out, a little delayed, but I will see you soon. Give me a question if you have any, okay? See you soon. Good night.